Oh, what's happening? I sent a couple that might fit your standards. You don't like any of them? Or you haven't looked, or?
New to Zoom. Hang on, let me go grab my table. All right, so I'm gonna be in the back here. All right. So I'm just gonna stand or come closer.
Okay.
What time is it?
It's almost 11. We got like a couple minutes. How many left?
Yeah, so who is on? We're gonna give people 2 more minutes to jump on.
Okay.
And we're in the Legion room. We've just finished up our Legion. And oh guys, guess what? If you could put your faces on, that would be so wonderful. Because we're all zoomed out teaching to a blank screen. Thank you. Who's that? Ziba. Hey Ziba. Thank you. So yeah, guys, if you just throw your picture up or put your face on wherever you are, we would certainly appreciate that. Unless, of course, you're sick in bed. Then we get it. So welcome. Hey, Jack Smith. I see your team's on. I see Ziva's on.
We're here to support Marilyn. I'm so happy to see that she's doing exactly what Ronnie and I did on a whole different level. I love this.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for your support. That means everything to me.
It's absolutely brilliant what you're doing. I love the whole thing that you've done right here. It's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant.
Thank you.
Yes, she is super special. I missed the one that you and Ronnie did. I'm sure
Yeah,
I
it
can
wasn't as
find it
professional as
somewhere.
this, I'll tell you about it. It certainly was not this professional, and I love it.
Yeah. You know, Marilyn's gonna go all out, so I can't
Yeah.
wait. I've got my little notebook ready, which is, I need a new notebook, actually.
Yes, it's a blessing and a curse. I remember one of my teachers said, Marilyn, we did a treasure chest on an Indian tribe, and it was the kids had to go through all these artifacts. So I collected a lot of artifacts. And he said, oh my God, it looks like a little mini Walmart in here. So that was one of the lessons, not to overdo things. So I'll have to apologize up front, but.
No, Marilyn, we love it when you overdo things. Okay, so I think
Thank
it's
you.
right at 11, and we're gonna honor everybody's
Great.
time. Thank you so much for being on time. If you are watching this, we are KW, we're Kwan.
You see with your hair, right?
KW 178. Please remember, if you're not speaking,
I don't know why it's
mute yourself. Please mute yourself if you're not speaking.
So
Thank
you guys, welcome to class, and Authorine's gonna keep an eye on the chat.
Yes.
So we'll have different points in the presentation where you'll be able to share, and then you can, so we'll just go over. When we're not in a sharing time, I'm just gonna have you guys mute. We're gonna make it a safe classroom. All questions are welcome. Just be brief with your comments so everybody can have a turn. And the session is 60 minutes long. The alarm is gonna ring at 12:45, and that will be our bell that we have 15
The
minutes
one that
left.
Jack sent me to
Okay.
go to.
The
open house one.
That should be good.
All right, remember to please mute yourself, and welcome to our training. My name is Authorine Johnson. I am in Marietta, Georgia. We do group trainings every Monday and Wednesdays. So welcome. Marilyn,
Thanks everyone for coming.
please take it away, and thank you again in advance, Marilyn. We can't wait to
You're
learn.
welcome. So my background's in teaching. I did that for many moons, and then I actually owned a weight loss franchise. So I would teach small groups and one-on-one. And I found my way into real estate in 2004. And I haven't left Keller Williams since. So I've been doing this about 18 years. I used to mentor and help agents. I taught a lot of classes in different market centers. I've taught Ignite and 36-12-3. And you guys will probably, some of you will remember before Ignite, the programs that came. And I've taught Recruit Select before and lots of things as team leader. And then I focused on DISC for a little while. So here I am. I'm going to talk to you today about mega agent open houses. So our focus is how do we plan, prepare, and host a booming open house that's going to get you guys powerful result. So I watched just to set the stage, I watched the Rolling Stones premiere, and they're basically doing an interview with Mick Jagger, Keith, and I don't know, did anybody see this with Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts? It just came out this week. So Mick Jagger, did anyone, oh, sorry, go ahead. You can come off mute. Did anyone see that yet? So the first thing that Mick Jagger talks about is, and they describe him as a leader who pulled the band together, but Mick wanted to go big. Everything he did was big, and he had a big vision for that band. He's the one who said we have to brand. He created a camaraderie with his bandmates, and they were one of the first rock and roll bands. I did a little bit of research while I was watching. They were one of the first bands that created a stage and a platform presence for a rock concert. Mick felt you had to be all in with your clothes, with your presentation, with your performance. So he learned to become a top performer over time, and he just got better and better. In fact, many people claim that it wasn't really his musical voice, it was his ability to perform that catapulted the Rolling Stones into superstardom. And you'll see the journey if you watch it, but I found it pretty fascinating. And basically, that's what you guys are going to do for your open houses. So one of the mega secrets from Mick Jagger to you guys is it's all in the preparation. Everything you do, everything you touch, you need to have your A game and you need to be all in. So this is a party that you're inviting the world to come to, and it's not your day to be tired. You've got to show up with energy. It's a lot of work and a lot of prep, but I promise it's worth it, and you'll have a blast doing it. So it doesn't matter what your behavioral style is in this market. Gary Keller reminds us, you have to go all out now. So this is the time, if you don't know how to do it, this is the time to step into that mode and learn how to do a 7th level open house. So it's everything really. But that's our focus for today. So open houses are one of the most effective lead generation strategies in a shifting market and in general. So I would love you guys to come off mute and just tell me, why is an open house one of the most effective strategies you can add to your lead generation portal? Louise?
Belly to belly.
It's belly to belly, it's face to face. So Louise gets a prize. What else, you guys? LaKayla has her hand up. I can see LaKayla.
I do, but I was going to say that face to face, that you're actually having to being able to have direct conversations with people, which means you get to get a real sense of what they're thinking.
Yep, excellent, LaKayla. And LaKayla's a good detective, so she'll be able to, even when they don't say it, she'll be able to read and intuit. Jack, what do you think?
Well, I think there's several parts of that. I mean, I love what LaKayla and Louise said about belly to belly, but you also have the opportunity to door knock. You have an opportunity to circle prospect.
Yeah.
You can also send postcards out if you're doing it ahead of time. So I think that there's several ways that you can do it, but I think that what they spoke about in the very beginning is if you get people in, get them in, that the most important thing is you've got a face-to-face reaction from everybody. We have a brand new agent that did his first open house by himself this weekend and already has a listing appointment for Wednesday from it. So it's just a matter of how you approach it and what which it is. And I think as you've talked about so much, Marilyn, when you teach the disc class, is how you model yourself after their behavior.
Yeah.
Or in match, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are great points. And anyone, can a new agent do an open house? How much training do we have to give them to go out and meet the world and say hi to people, right? So this is a learn as you earn job. So you can do an open house quickly. Susie, I see your hand, and Arlene and Carol and Val. I'll move it along, and can I call on you guys again? So we'll keep going, okay? Because the 60 minutes goes fast.
Yes, it does.
So one of the reasons why I love the open house is if you did not do your lead generation that week, if for some reason you didn't bring it, your open house is also an opportunity to catch up. You can do 6 open houses on a weekend. You could do Thursday, Friday plus 6. And you are mathematically almost guaranteed to capture at least one lead from your open house. So I always looked at it as, if my week was busy, it could also serve as my fallback. I didn't really feel like you just had to be prepared. You had to do the prep work to get them on the books, right? So let's talk about the system. I broke it down into 3 parts. There's the pre-event work, there's the event itself, and there's the post-event follow-up.
Turn around and say kids are off limits the moment Candy brought.
Can you guys please mute
Thank you.
yourselves? Thank you. And Marilyn, you're the host, so you can actually go up and do mute all.
Julie, she's silly.
Okay, thank you.
Because that person is not listening at all. Go up to the box
Yep,
and mute all, please.
I'm not sure where that tab is, but
Stand love.
Let me just finish this real quick.
that is, can I please, Mindy, can you go on mute, please? So the goal of the open house is to surprise and delight. And how you do this is very unique to you as an agent. So this is where you really get to put your flair on it and add some creativity. At the beginning, you want to get the seller involved. You want to sit with them and talk about the expectations. How can they help? I like to get the whole family involved. I want everybody, I want the kids cleaning their rooms. I give them little bins. I work with them. They think it's fun. I tell them, here's your bin. Whatever toys can fit in this is what can stay in your room, and we'll bring it out back and forth. Everything else is going to get packed up. I want it hospital clean at my open houses, or in the best condition the family can do. You don't want to miss the curb appeal either, because people drive by the location first and they decide if they even want to come inside. If you get everybody invested in the project, they'll be more invested in the wholesale throughout, and they get more excited about it. That's what I found. The timing of the open house is something that you're going to have to talk to them about, because they have to vacate for a few hours. So it has to be very carefully planned, and you have to let them know it's not 1 hour or 2 hours. The prep and then leaving and coming back might be a total of 4. So one of the surprise and delight gifts I've done on occasion is I send them out to breakfast, or I give them a gift certificate to take the family out to lunch, so they don't resent leaving for a few hours and giving me the house. Beginning, I feel it has to start with a shout out or a video teaser. You've got to get the world ready for your open house with the premiere, just like a movie that's coming. So what's the last movie somebody has seen?
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train? Oh, I don't know. I don't know that movie. And how did you find out about Bullet Train, Renee?
So my son and my husband wanted to see it, and they were destined to get me there. So they kept showing me these trailers, and they kept talking about it. They were hyping it up. Mommy, you can have some goobers. Come on, let's go. You know, they made it a big deal.
I love it. I heard trailers hyping it up, right? They do movie junkets before movies, and your open house has to have the same sizzle and the same pizzazz to it. If you want people from the community to go, you have to make it the next best thing that's happening in town. So that's the type of production you want to talk about. there's got to be something magical about when they get there that they're like, even if they don't have to buy a house, they want to come to your open house. So what can you do to bring it? You can make a Facebook page in that town. You can buy an address on GoDaddy. I've interviewed the neighbors. So you go around and you door knock, you find people out in the neighborhood and I'll say, I'm selling 33 Central Street, Easton. Do you know that house? Oh yeah, that's the one on the corner. And where do you guys live? You start a conversation with them about the community that they live in. Then they get involved with the open house. You can do a giveaway at the open house. Say, would you like to come with your family? Come on by. The ice cream man's gonna be there. Or I'm doing a raffle for Father's Day. There's a Yeti cooler. So you do something to get them involved. A domain on GoDaddy is $10. You can make a landing page. It takes 15 minutes. It's not hard. I'm not really that techie, but I learned how to do it. And now I have a cyberbacker who can help me. So it's very manageable. Somebody in the office, you might even be able to pay them and they can help you with that. But it's fun. If you like, you can be Barbara Walters or Jimmy Kimmel for the day and you go out and meet the world. It's a great way to promote it. So what is the pre-event work? And it is work. On Monday, you have to start. So I'm not one of the agents that says do it on a Thursday. I start every single Monday. It's my busiest day to get ready for the next one. You've got to post it in MLS. The more you let the people know about the movie premiere, the more likely they are to come on the weekend because people need time in their busy schedules to plan. This isn't really an impulse, right? Hey, I think I'll go to open houses. They're usually more planned than that. I've been changing my mailer program. I started with 100 before the pandemic. And then just for the heck of it, I thought everybody's cutting back. I wonder if I double down, if I'll get better results. And lo and behold, they did. So I went from 200 to 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 and then measured the ROI. Gary Keller said we can get one listing and 2 buyers from each open house. So I just want to see, is that formula true? How many people did we need to invite? Well, mathematically, you've got to see how many reverse matches in MLS. So you got to know your numbers a little bit, and then you invite the rest of the community to fill in the gap. So here's the second mega open house secret. It doesn't matter if they're not there to buy the house. And I'm going to say that twice. It doesn't matter if they're not there to buy the house. I want the bodies in the room. So the buyer says, oh my goodness, this is the hot new movie premiere. This is the hot new open house. Can you imagine if you went to the premiere of Maverick and there were all these empty seats? Before the movie even started, what would you think about that movie, right? You're thinking this might be a dud. Nobody's here. Nobody wants to see it. So when you do an open house, get everybody to come, okay? You want to invite the families in the neighborhood. You could do them an hour before. Kim, can you mute, please? You could do them an hour before if you want to.
Can you
And
mute
then you
all,
can meet the
Marilyn?
neighbors.
There are other noises too.
Listing.
Is
Can
there a
you-
way you could make
Background
a
noise.
co-host, and then we could mute everybody?
It's not, sorry, it's not letting me do that. So I just have to rely on you guys to be on the honor system and just mute. Isn't
Yeah, I
that
don't think
easier?
she can hear. Kim Finley, can you hear? Or Darlene, who's on her
I'll call
phone?
Kim. I'll call Kim right now, guys.
So you should add your open house rider on a Monday because people will drive by before they attend. You can add a yard box and the yard box could have a QR code to your website. So it'll go directly right to the website with the domain you bought for $10. It's easy. You can get a yard box at Lowe's or a Home Depot, or you can order one from KW. You can get a custom rider made by a sign company that's local, or you can call Lowen.
Marilyn, you took your video off just so that you know. I don't know if you're aware.
Oops, sorry.
I have a
Marilyn,
question on the pre,
what is the difference between the GoDaddy site and the command site?
GoDaddy, to buy a domain name, nothing, it's just one that I use. Oops, sorry. I've never used the command, I've never used command for
Command is free.
domain names, so.
Command is free, Marilyn, for your
Okay,
landing,
well,
for your landing pages.
thank you for teaching me, I'm still learning.
So guys,
So-
Marilyn actually buys the domain, the URL for the street, for the house address. So if it's
Yes, I-
123 Main Street, she'll buy 123mainstreet.com.
Yes,
That's the difference.
and I put it, and I make a Facebook page. So, and then they have to post to get the prize. So I've been doing it a little bit different and put the interviews. So some of the other pre-work, you want to send the seller open house tips 7 days before. You've already set the expectations. There's a nice handout from Keller Williams in your Ignite book in the toolkit. And then it will say 1 to 3 days before. If your local paper puts open houses in it, then post in the local paper. You need to get it on all the social media sites, schedule your Facebook ads to the target area. I would, say an 18-mile radius, so you can follow the stats for NAR. How far does the buyer usually move in your area? I believe it's about 17 miles. A big key to the open house is emailing the other agents in your community. There's 2 reasons why you want to do this. You want to show them that it's safe to send their clients down. So we're not going to pirate their buyers. We need them to send their buyers so they fill up the room and they fill up that house. And it's a co-broke opportunity. It's also an opportunity to build your downline. You're building trust. So everything you do is to preserve that relationship with the co-broke. We're not trying to take their clients, we're trying to work with them. And it starts with trust. So the pre-event, you're going to design and order print and marketing materials with the MOFR. It's more than a just listed card. You have to put the MOFR on it to get your target audience. What's the message you want to convey? When's the open house, the date and time? And you need to get that out. The mail during the pandemic was delayed. So I only had to have it happen once where my postcard came after the open house. So that was a lot of money spent. So you got to figure out your mail time if you're using another company. I do it myself now. I've been working with the local Staples and the girls are great. They add the addresses and we get it out right away now. So I don't have that downtime. You want to make custom feature sheets and open house materials. Arthurine, I did email you some of the forms that I use so you can share them and we can put them on your media files. You want to get all your disclosures ready. So I'm just going to ask you this. What are you doing to study and prepare for your open houses? If you don't know that house and you don't know the square footage and you don't know the lot size and you can't answer general questions, you're not ready to host yet. So you need to put some study and prepare. Mick Jagger said he practiced his dance moves before every single concert. He practiced, he studied, he scripted. Not one part of his thing was done spontaneously. You want to pull the active listings in the market stat so you can cross-sell other listings. If you have a ranch and they decide they don't want ranches, you need to know all the capes, all the colonials, all the contemporaries, so you can match them to another house. You should go above the price point and below, so you can know all of the inventory, and you should have it on a clipboard at your fingertips. You also want to know other agents' open houses. Don't be afraid to send them down to your colleague or to another co-broke. That little recommendation will go a long way when you're trying to build your downline. So be a good agent, be a good friend to other people. Help them and they'll help you. You help them win and they'll return the favor. Get the lender and other vendors involved. They can pony up some of the money. They can pay for some of the surprise and delight items, and they love to get involved. Some of them don't always show up, but they will open their wallet to help you out. So ask them. The quantity of mailers, we already talked about that. It's very important to measure your return on your investment. So if you did 100 and you got none, and you keep doing that, obviously that might not work in your market. But I would say track your numbers. Like Jack said, we're gonna door knock. We're gonna use door hangers so you don't waste your time. Some agents say, well, I don't wanna leave anything. Me, it's like you did all the work and they don't even know you were there. So make sure you leave something on the handle bar that says call you, get in touch with you. It can have a QR code and a message saying, hey, there's an open house that's coming. You can pass out flyers to the local businesses. Some businesses will even post your flyer in their back room. So you're getting the community involved. The day before the open house, you want to put all your A-frame tent signs around the town. I use a minimum of 6. So you have to find out what the town ordinance is. Sometimes people complain and sometimes I find them laying down. So you do have to check the morning of the open house and make sure they're still up. Set up your open house display at the house on Fridays. So you and your team can walk in on Saturday morning and everything should be done. You can also have an opportunity to see if the house is ready. I always bring Windex and a broom in my car, just in case the family didn't have enough time to clean and they weren't ready. And I just go around in Windex. I mean, it takes 15 minutes to do a little bit of prep, but it smells good and it looks clean in there. I use the open house bin and I gave Authorine the checklist so she can share that with you of what's inside the bin. And all of my systems are the same at every open house. The only thing that changes is the theme. So it's a repeatable system. It's easy. You can I have 6 boxes that are ready to go right now. I could go out the door if I did an open house, and it's a generic system. So you can customize it to the house by just printing out your listing sheet. It's easy to give to a new agent. It's all set up for them. So it's pretty foolproof. They won't get overwhelmed by what do I do? You take a photo of how it's set up on the kitchen table, or they can use a little Costco table with the tablecloth. But it's very, very easy. It's
This is
easy
Marita.
to follow. Marita, can you mute?
Marita,
please?
mute.
Sorry, ladies, I didn't.
So are you going to have a theme for your open house? You want to make it fun. So the football season is here. Now you can do a football theme. You can do Valentine's Day. I've done hearts all over the house. You can hide the heart. You can hide candy. You can do a pumpkin giveaway. There's a million things you can do to surprise and delight. You can have the ice cream man come. You could have a musician there. You could have an artist doing portraits. There are so many ways. There's an endless stream of ideas. Why don't you guys come off mute? What kind of themes have you done to make it fun at your open houses? And people can just share.
I've done different open houses on Friday nights and kind of had like a little neighborhood get together, like that type of atmosphere where there's different refreshments served and appetizers and almost like a little happy hour theme, if you will, but inviting for kids and their parents. And
love it. That's awesome, Gina.
During the summer where people want to be out and meeting their neighbors. So that was helpful.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Melanie?
Oops, there we go.
Melanie
Depending on the neighborhood, because every neighborhood has rules. I have in the past done food trucks because our area is huge. They love food trucks here. So if you have a food truck and you pay the food truck a certain amount of money and everybody gets a ticket, but they have to go through the open house and give feedback before they get their ticket. and go to the food truck. And then it kind of makes a party environment. Makes
I
everybody
love
excited.
that. And they love the party environment, even if they're coming, right? It's all that energy that it creates the enthusiasm. Mark?
I'm not sure if you can hear me. I haven't done this, but I'm going to try it, is get pints of ice cream. And if people come in during the summertime, they have to take the ice cream home. So they don't go to more open houses.
Oh, that's smart. Very clever, Mark. Thank you for sharing, Louise.
I like having a progressive open house if you can coordinate with a couple of others in the community. Each location has a different what is the word I'm looking for? Not
like charcuterie, or that's cool,
have a
Louise.
different
Time
course,
span.
a different course, like an appetizer, a dessert, and a drink or something.
Very fun. I love that idea. So
And
we are
then-
going to talk. We're
and then
going to
we can,
talk. Whoops.
Have people apply for a gift card at the end, at the conclusion, as long as they've attended all of the open houses.
Nice. And Jack?
Sorry about that. What we also do, Marilyn, is if the house is not, how do I put this nicely, up to our standards on cleanliness,
Yes.
we send in a cleaning person. We actually have to get done this afternoon.
Love that idea.
Because I think you know, it might cost you $1.50 to do it, but the presentation, you don't have a second chance for a good presentation, and nobody wants to walk in and see a dirty house, right?
I am right there with you. I think that is the best 125 spent if you can help the seller out. Because some people, it's a kid thing, it's a time thing, and who wouldn't even appreciate that coming home to a cleaned house, detail clean. Thank you. That's a great idea. And Ronnie?
Thank you, Marilyn. We've done barbecues. You know,
Oh.
in Florida, we have the luxury of good weather. So we've done barbecues on the driveway just to entice them to come in and stuff.
Nice, Ronnie. Great idea. One time I did, my sellers were parrot heads. So I dressed like a parrot head and we did cheeseburgers in paradise. And Jimmy Buffett was playing the whole time and people loved it. So I had everyone, it was a condo complex. So it was really fun. So what Louise just said, this is our slide, hold many houses open. Again, when you work collaboratively with your broker community, number one, you're building a downline. Number two, you're building trust. You're sending people to them. There's plenty of abundance for everybody. So you want to get all the agents involved because there'll be more for everybody. They can only buy one house. So you have to think in abundance when you do that. Ask the vendor partners, like Louise said, one lender could do the first course. Another lender could do the second course. I know the law firm that I work with, they dropped off little food baskets at each one when we did a community, and we had an order that they had to go in, like a community train. Invite community helpers to come to the event. You could get it catered by a local company. So the main event, let's talk about the main event. So remember our goal, we want to surprise and delight. So we want people to be really excited by this time. And I just want to prove a couple of pictures, like the Starbucks crew. When you walk in and the whole place goes, hey, how are you? Well, they call you by first name, right? They make you feel warm and welcome, or cheers. You want to have a cheers, welcoming atmosphere, right? Your energy and your enthusiasm is contagious. So you want to light up that room and get your team all pumped up. So how are you guys showing up? I always say, if I can't tell, I told my team, I want you in your Sunday best. And then I realized that's a dated expression. What I really mean is just look neat and presentable. And if I can't tell the difference between the agent and the buyer, then you're not dressed up enough. And I think you can spend a little bit of time getting a little bit dressed for the party, right? Jack, did you have a comment? And Mark?
No, I was just going to say the typing in the background's bad.
Oh, sorry. Please, Kelly, can you mute, please? Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Come on, people.
So most important is a positive mindset. If you're shy about doing open houses or you're nervous, you can bring someone with you. It's easy to get a colleague to do this with you. And I usually bring 3 people. I like having a lot of people, and we spread out, we get each other psyched up, and then we just share the business that comes. People like it too. So mega energy, have a lot of fun. Open houses are really fun. If you high eyes, high S's for disc profiles, it's a blast doing an open house. I like the dress code. Maybe I'm old school, but I think when you're going to present to people, if you're in business clothes, even if you muck up your presentation, you still you still look like you're professional. Carol, would you like to share?
The one thing that I've noticed, a lot of the things that we do, because I'm in the city, so we don't have houses. A lot of times we have condos and co-ops. Sometimes we can't advertise open houses. We have to do by appointment only. So it's a little different market. But the one thing that I have noticed is when I let other agents hold my houses open, usually the buyers aren't there. Like, I sell the house to the buyers, even if the other agent brings the buyer. It's my conversation. It's what I say to them. It's my personality. It's what I do. So don't ever discount your ability to help that other agent, that buyer agent. Don't ever discount your conversation, asking those deep questions, because sometimes that buyer agent they were just a Zillow lead and they have no clue what that buyer wants. They didn't ask a consultation. They didn't ask the buyer the deep questions. And I never assume that they did. And I very politely ask those deep questions and watch the buyer's face, the buyer agent's face go, oh, I didn't even know that. And get those deep questions. The next thing you know, I help them through the whole conversation and help them get their buyer to make an offer on my property, because they never did that.
And that is a pro experienced words of wisdom, you guys. Listen to what she said. She sells the house for the colleague, for the broker, the buyer agent. So she doesn't leave it to chance. She coaches, she helps. She's working the Y4C2 model. That's what that is, Carolyn. You get a huge shout out and amen. I love that, because that's awesome. That's how Keller Williams agents, that's how we're supposed to be showing up. We're collaborators. We work with others in the community. That's awesome, Carol. I'd love to hear that. Louise, do you want to share?
Janine and Miguel Garcia shared with me that when buyers come absent their buyer agents, they actually get their buyer agent's information. They call the buyer agent and they go, hey, your buyer liked the house, and what can we do to help you with this? And they kind of like mentor and guide the buyer agent, and they have great success with that.
It's huge, because I'll tell the buyer agents, listen, I'm going to be here for 2 hours. You can do one of your own. I promise I'll share. You have them sign in with your name and we'll work together on the deal. I hope we can do a transaction. You've got to show up with that high road and think abundantly, because then they'll just send them. All of your colleagues in the area will send them to your open house, and that's what gets them packed. It's not a pandemic. It's that they trust you and they want to do business with you because you're trustworthy and you're following the model. Jack, did you want to share?
You know what I'll do is we have a list, anybody that does an open house for us, we send out open house protocol. I'll check with James if he'll allow us to put that on the pivot page. I don't know how that, I've never posted anything there. Do you have to have permission to do it? But I think that we are very, very specific about how you dress, what you do, what you show up with, how many signs you put out, how
Me
you
too.
It's not even negotiable for us. If you don't do it, you're out.
That's how I am too. And I don't want to leave it to chance. And if someone on the team might be having a tough day, I'll ask them, are you sure you're up for this? Because I need your A game. We have a rule that we leave it at the door. You've got to be in high energy. You've got to connect. They're not going to hang around with each other. We're circulating work in the room. So we're at work. It's work. And that's how they have to show up. So I have a standard that I expect at the open house. Like Carol said, That's a salesperson. She knows her job. That's what I want to see that at the open house. That's just awesome, Jack. And I think anyone could benefit from seeing that. Because that's a quality, you know.
If you post on Pivot Shift, James sees it and he can approve it and it'll just show up.
Okay,
and I'm
good.
sure
Thank you, Valerie.
That's
something
awesome.
valuable like that, I'm sure he would approve it.
Sure, thank you, Valerie.
Thanks, Val. So there is scripts practice. I didn't make it a scripts class, but there's a lot of scripts from Ignite. There's a lot of scripts that you can teach agents and how you ask questions. We do it on Early Bird, we do it on Hurley. It's asking open-ended questions to solicit information, whether they're your client or not. You want to find out if they're going to match with this house or if they want to buy it. Is this a potential buyer for your seller? And if not, then what? So you have to ask great questions. So I just came back to Mick again, because Mick Jagger said in his interview, he pumped up the team. Keith Richards and all of them said it's because of Mick. Mick was the glue. Mick was the Carol Castle, the Jack Smith. He got everybody else ready for performance. He set the standard, just like Jack said. They had a standard of showing up. They were bandmates. And he was very careful to say, friends are friends, family is family. These are his bandmates, and they were at work, you guys. So everything he says is everything we talk about on the pivot call. It was really interesting to listen to him. He was very humble too. So you can have a blessing before it starts. You can use music. You want to share the camaraderie with your teammates. You leave your junk at the door. This is not your time about you. This is about them. It's time to perform and go to work. So signs are up. We're ready to go. Let's go to the open house now and see what it's about. I still remember Rob Daniel at Bold telling us to do multicolored balloons and Hershey kisses. And he said, that's the secret to the community open house. So you want to do a live video, get it on Facebook and introduce, walk around the house. You can go live, not too long. Robin Nilsson is a whiz at those reels. She said 1 minute or less, she splices them together and off they go onto Instagram. So there are some techie people that can help with that. You want to make an impression. This is your Thanksgiving table moment. So you've invited them to the feast. How did you show up? You want to surprise and delight. Make it memorable. What are you doing at the open house to prepare the feast for them? So they go, wow, look at this. And it just feels special. It feels important. I love what Jack said, hospital clean. They're going to go by their 5 senses. So what are they seeing? How does it look? What are they hearing? Is it noisy? Is there a hum in the background? What do they smell? Can they smell the animals? Can they smell last night's dinner? What are they going to touch? How do the materials feel? Is the floor sticky? You know, look around, pay attention, and be professional and monitor your space so you bring your A game. I say you light it up like a Christmas tree. You want the shades up, you want the lights on, you want it to be light and bright in that open house and it's not dark and dingy. If the client doesn't have light, bring them with you. Put them in your car. It's the easiest thing to get a floor lamp. You can get it right at Target. So the open house display, I sent to Authorine the checklist. These are some of the materials: tablecloth, a Costco table, signs in a plastic display. I could show you an example. I don't even know if you guys can still see, but I use these sign holders from Staples. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
And I have them all over the house. And then I put on the sign holder, this is the bedroom, but if there's some feature about the house, I use the little mini ones and I put all my bullet points. So they're going around reading these little placards. It takes work. You got to make sure you spelled it right. You got to get all the details on there, but the people love it. It's like they're at a museum and they go into a display. And then you can point out, all the features that you want them to see. You can color code things, use staging props, one color theme in every room. You show them where you want them to look. You need your agency disclosure for compliance, a welcome sign. I've got those little chalkboards and easels and fun things at the door. Remember when we went to Safety Harbor and Accents by Polish, you had that big welcome sign. So doll it up, do some things to make it fun. When they come in, they'll love it. I'm telling you, it goes a long way. So decorate. For lead capture, Lee and Ellie are doing, and Chris Hurley, they're asking great questions. You guys know how to do it. Get the details. So you want to source the lead. How did they hear about the open house? Did your mailers work? They don't always name the mailers, so I ask them, did you get anything in the mail? I want to know I'm spending the money in the right place. Did they see it on Facebook? So if they say the internet, you have to ask them, which site were you on? Are they using your mobile app? Or are they using Redfin? Ask questions. Are they working with an agent? Who's their agent? The minute they tell me they're working with an agent, I shut it down. I shut it down. I'm not there to pirate their client. I put the agent's name on, Carol Castle. I'm going to call Carol after the open house and say, your client, Christine Spistali, came to my open house today. She seemed like she really loved it. So be a good co-broke, be honorable. Where do they live right now? How far of a distance? You'll know when you ask them that, you'll know if they're relocating. What are they looking for in a home? Now, when you have 12 people there, you're not going to be able to fire off all these questions. So you need a form that does it for you. I'm old school. I still use my paper form. It's carbon copied. I brought it to the printer. One goes to the seller, one goes to the team, one goes to the lender. We split the leads. I put a star on everybody I think is going to buy the house, and everybody else, I know I got to find them something else. The open house guest registration form, I just went over it. This is what is on it, and I sent it to Authorine so I can add it on James Shaw. It was made up by a group of agents. I cannot take credit. We did condition, location, price. We started using it on these little mini clipboards, and they loved it. It's like a little survey they walk around. Now your seller gets the information and feedback right from the horse's mouth. It's not you telling them, it's the consumer. And if you design the questions, condition, location, price, then if you need a price break, you got it right on those forms. If everybody gives it a 2, you can say, well, look at what they wrote, Mr. Seller. So they loved the condition, but they're saying the price is too high. And there you go. That starts your conversation. That form has lots of information. You get your return on investment. How did they hear about the open house? Do they need a lender? There's your opportunity. If you scan it to the lender, your lender partner will put them in an email drip. You can scan it to your admin. They can put them in command. Only the people that are unrepresented though. So back-to-back open houses, let's just do the math. So if I hold 3 open houses and I do Stephen's 1-hour open house, 10 to 11, 12 to 2, and 2:30 to 3:30, or 2:30 to 4, and 10 families come on Saturday and Sunday, that's 60 people. 60 people times 52 weeks in a year, right? How can I not get one lead from 60 people? Could I put another person on those open houses? Could I pay them by the hour and then they bring me all my sign-in sheets? Absolutely. They want the $50 or the $100 to work. You get all the leads. Is that easy? Sharing the feedback with the seller. It's very, very important, and probably one of the most important things. You need to call them. I start closing up 15 minutes before it ends. I already texted the seller. It's a generic text. It's in the notes section in my phone. My coach showed me that. It's the same text every weekend. We had X amount of visitors at today's open house. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for the showing condition. It looked hospital clean. I'm going to reward them for the behavior that I want to see again. Please thank the kids for cleaning their rooms again. I left them some cookies on the counter. So give them a prize. You want them to do that? Tell them thank you, surprise and delight. Text them, I had 25 guests. Give the feedback forms, write them a note. Get some thank you notes with your brand. Surprise and delight. Remember those little mints you get in the hotel? Not at Safety Harbor, but at the other hotels, right? Put them right on the counter with your brand, and that will be your trademark. Make sure you say thank you and write them a warm personal note. And I can't stress the importance of doing it immediately. If the seller calls you before you've told them, in my opinion, the team lost. I lost. I went down one peg in the surprise and delight or my review because they had to ask me, Marilyn, how was the open house? How many people came? Why? Because I didn't feel like texting them. Oh my God, it takes me 5 minutes. Surprise and delight. Okay, Monday, let's do this. Monday is the most important day of the week. It's not Wednesday follow-up. It's Monday. So Monday's going to be your busiest day. If you're going to hire an admin for any day of the week, do it on Monday. You just got 60 families at the open house. I could literally spend my whole day putting them in command, calling them. It's a full-time job and I don't have enough hours to do it. But that's the day you need to do it. You can even do it the day of the open house, Saturday or Sunday. But the key is you've got to get on it. Don't dilly-dally. If you wait, they're going to go to another open house. They're going to leave my open house and go meet Jack, and I'm dead in the water. They're going to leave my open house. They're going to meet LaKayla, and now I don't even have a chance because they're going to love LaKayla. Buyers are not loyal. They might not be loyal, I should say. They might not be. They might not be loyal, I should say. They might, right? They're going to meet another agent and off they go.
Hey, Jenny, could you mute, please, hon?
Thank you. So they have a short attention span. I've called people the next day and they said, I think it was such a memorable impression. And they say, Jenny, can you mute? They'll say to me, who are you? I don't remember, which house were you at? So it may not be what we think. We think we connected with them. They think they just met another realtor. So you have to call, okay? LaKayla and Carol, you guys want to share?
Yeah, thanks for what you shared. I do, but I haven't been consistent with the feedback to the seller. So that's great. What I started doing, again, consistency is the key to all of this, is doing a quick video while I'm still at the house, thanking the visitors that's come. So
Love
that
idea,
gives
LaKayla.
them a way to remind them the house that they're in, and I'm not putting it off. I'm getting it done before I even leave the house.
Great idea. Love that idea. That's fabulous. Even you can interview them. Great idea. And Shayna?
Hi, Marilyn. Thank you for sharing. Quick question to you. When you're doing your follow-up, what does your script sound like to buyers, even the ones that you didn't have too much time to speak with at the open house?
I'm pretty straight up and I just say, hey, it's Marilyn Burke from Kelly Williams. I met you at 33 Central Street, Shayna. Tell me, what did you think about the house?
Got it.
And I just do a deep dive, open-ended questions. They either like, right? What are they going to say? I liked it. I didn't like it. I'm not sure. There's only 3 possibilities. If they didn't like it, then what am I asking them? Are you working with an agent? I'd love to do a Zoom. Can we do one right now? Can you chat with me? I'd love to show, can we work together? So my goal is to find out, is anybody helping you? Obviously, if they're represented, we wouldn't be having a direct conversation, but I'm assuming that you're not because we're talking and you're on the phone. So your goal is to talk to them. And when I get them on the phone, lately, I've just been doing the Zoom right away.
Oh,
Charlie, can
thank
you
you so much.
Cheryl, sweetie, could you unmute?
Cheryl, can you mute, please?
Cheryl, please mute.
Thank you. So, Carolyn, go ahead, please.
Two things. The first is when you do your next wonderful Zoom, because I always learn so much from you. There's a feature that when people come into the Zoom, it automatically brings them in muted. I'm just going to share so that didn't happen this time. Okay,
Thank you,
and
Carolyn.
the other is for the command, you can do the landing page and set up the QR code. So when they scan it, it will automatically put it in the command for you. So that'll help kill some of your time, yours or your admin.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm newer to Zoom and I'm getting used to it. I've done a few classes, but I appreciate any tips. Paul Corey helped me a little bit and I'm still learning. So let's just talk about crossing a sign. I know I brought it up a few times. I'm just really big on the Y4C2 model and I don't want to, the Realtor Code of Ethics. So be honorable. That's what attracts them to KW, that you're a good foot soldier for the company. So I'd love to hear that you have honor out there, that you're not taking anyone else's client. You cannot recover from that. I used to tell the agents in the market center, we can't fix that. Once you get a reputation from being dishonorable or pirating other people, it's very hard to unring that bell. So I'm just saying, don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. There's plenty of business out there. There is plenty of abundance for all of us. You'll feel better too at earning your way through, earning the client's trust. Okay? So that's our 5-minute. We're almost done. So I'm just going to ask you, are you organized? Are you prepared to receive and share offers? What are your discussions with the co-brokes? Are all the documents in? Do you have your disclosures ready to go? Do you know how to use .loop and DocuSign? Are you prepared for the opportunity? The presentation of the offers, I do a test run with my sellers before we get to the real offers. I show them the multiple offer spreadsheet and how it works. I teach them how to identify the conditions in the offer they like. They might like 4 conditions and not 1. So they might like the deposit, the closing date, the contingencies, but they don't like the price. So bulletproof your conversation and have it ahead of time. Teach them how to dissect that offer for the merits. So it's not an automatic no, right? Show them how to make a counter offer. There's a lot of gray in an offer. Some of it will be okay. 80-20 the offer. Take your time going through and be professional. Get back to the co-broke. Thank you for the offer. I really appreciate that you sent it. There's nothing more frustrating than they took the time to write. Takes 30 minutes to write a decent, full, complete offer. So honor them, say thank you. Treat them with respect, even if it's a lousy offer and they're missing documents. Jack, did you want to share?
Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, as you're talking about this, and I'm thinking of the things that we do that I don't have written down. So thank you for this call today, because this really helped me as I write these things down. The other thing we do at the open house is we ask them to take their shoes off. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but the bottom line is we don't want to clean the house, and people sometimes walk in with crap on their feet, right? And then they're, oh, I'm so sorry, I apologize. The third part about that is that I did that in a house, I don't know, 6 weeks or so ago. The people that came in took their shoes off. Then somebody banged on the door to come in. So I went to the door and said, may I help you? And this very impatient woman wanted to come in. I said, please take your shoes off. She said, I can't take my shoes off. I said, why? She said, I have a foot disease. And I looked at her and I said, now this is what the clients that I had else asked to take their shoes off right behind me. And I said to her, so you have a foot disease and you're coming to a house with children and you want to bring in a foot disease? Who knows what else you have? Well, we got a call back, or Julia did the follow-up on it. And she called back and the woman said, the reason I want you to come do my open house is you asked everybody to take their shoes off. So these are all little things that I know it might sound very subversive at times, but they're really planned, and it generates a whole different level of people understanding how you treat their most valuable asset is their home, right?
Absolutely. You honored their house, their palace, and I commend you for that. That's exactly how they see it. When you are the shepherd of their asset and you forget to lock the door, or you see mud on the floor that somebody tracked in and you didn't even take a minute to wipe it up. You didn't show any care and attention to the product. You didn't show any care and honor to your client. So I love that, Jack. I think it's very important that you match what would we want done? I would want someone to pay attention in my house. So it's no different than how we treat each other in Pivot Shift, right? We just
Right, and
want,
it also keeps the looky-loos away, and
Yep.
somebody else watches how you respect somebody else's home. That was an afternoon, and we made, I don't know, what did we make on that? $38,000 on commission from selling that house.
wow.
That's a
That's amazing.
$38,000 mistake, folks. That's a 38, and I know that people don't want to do it, and we have
Yeah.
booties at the door as well, but we've also found that people sometimes slip on booties, right?
Yes.
We have to be very, very careful, but respect everybody's home. That's, this is people, I've seen people do things that are just unconscionable, for lack of better words.
Yeah. I've had, people bring a pet, not a service dog, a pet. And, I'm sure you can imagine how that goes.
No.
Okay. All right. Let me ask Carol, did you want to share?
Sometimes people just, they don't understand the whole process. Like I have a seller, a listing, and she started sending me options, for buying, and she sent me a listing, and I sent it back to her, and I said, well, you have to have pre-approved funds or a mortgage approval in order to even see the property. And then she's like, oh, well, I still want to see it. I said, well, we have to sell your property first, or you have to have $849,000 in the bank, which we don't have yet. This is why we have to sell your property.
Yes.
So this is why we need to get your house sold. So let's get it done. Let's quit stalling, and let's get it cleaned, and let's get it on the market so you can buy this house, and quit telling me why you can't get it listed if you want to buy this house. And she goes, okay, because she's been telling me all the reasons why. Well, I want to delay it. And I said, well, you just can't see it. So she goes, well, is that normal? I said, well, it's normal for this seller. So she's not going to show you her house unless you have an approved mortgage or cash in the bank. So sellers can say what they want to say. You know what I'm saying?
So you just got two
So if they don't
wise
want to
tips.
the house,
Sure.
there
Two
you go.
tips from the pros, you guys, that getting a pre-approval, and what Jack said, he is in control of his open house. He sets the standard and the expectation. So we'll talk briefly about offer deadlines. How much is enough time? The challenges of waiting too long. I feel like Monday, a new set of listings could come on the market. And I feel like buyers these days can have a short attention span. I've done a booming open house. My movie premiere was successful. And I've actually had another one come on a Monday. And then people said, well, Marilyn, I just want to see what that looks like. And I can't go in till Saturday. So it was it became competing with my listing. So just food for thought. Don't wait too long. Get it done and put a deadline. If they ask, the minute one buyer says, Marilyn, when is the deadline? Or more than one, I say, that's my cue to make a timestamp on it, because they're probably going to bid. Communicating with the co-broke, it's a surprise and delight. So you can give them the shift book, you can give them a gift card. Hey, thanks for showing my listing. I noticed you showed my other one too. Make a friend with them. They'll keep sending their buyers and they'll feel safe. You're building trust. Send a letter to the co-broke, build a relationship, build your downline. It's a great opportunity. You're already out doing the open house. It's a great opportunity to meet them. How are they serving their client? Would you want them on your team? Some buyer agents love to go to open houses. They don't really like writing the offer though. They like the social part of real estate. They don't like the technical, the paperwork. It's stressful for them. So it might be a win-win for you. You write the offer for them, you split the fee, it's a perfect win-win. So results, how did you win? What did you learn after the open house? What were your ahas? If you had to do it all over again, what would you do different? Analyze what went well about the open house and what didn't go well. Like Jack said, I'm going to use the booties. I'm not going to use the booties. I'm going to wipe it up. I'm going to bring air freshener and put it in my car. I'm going to bring an extra carpet square in case it rains and I wasn't planning on it. I'm going to spend 15 minutes early because this seller's not going to clean. They're going to let Fluffy walk all over the kitchen floor and it's a mess, right? So what would you do different? Be ready for the next one. So let's chat. Let's talk about your ahas and what systems you can put in place moving forward. So this is a free time to raise your hand and participate.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
How do you take care of people who come to the open house, like more than one person comes in at once, or like a person comes in, you showing them the house, and then the doorbell rings, another person comes in, and then how do you take care of those clients?
I use a little mini clipboard. You buy them at Staples, and I'm sorry, I don't have one. These are the open houses from this weekend. I had 14 plus 4. This is one open house. So these forms fit on a little mini clipboard and they get a pen. I have branded pens. So all I do is hand out my clipboard. The instructions on how to sign in, I put their name and their phone number so I can read it. And I just hand out the clipboard and that gives me a minute. I count the clipboards in every listing so I know who's in the house with me. I lock all the doors except for the entry door, so I know who's in the house for realtor safety. So you're passing out the feedback form. They don't get past you though. You're registering people for that house. So nobody just goes in past you. You have to be in control of it. You can use your table, your Costco table or the front entryway to make a small entryway. So you let them in 2 at a time or one family at a time. That's how I do it. And usually there's 3 of us at my open house. I'm the greeter or somebody on my team greets. Somebody else is at the open house station where the books are and the 3rd person floats. So the floater walks around with unrepresented buyers. I put a little tag on the form so they know. They get the form from the client and off they go. If they're represented and they're working with an agent, they'll see that right away. So it's a system. You work together, you can bring another agent there. If you feel overwhelmed by the number of family members there, just bring another agent with you and you do a trade for trade. You help them, they'll help you. Does that help?
So much. Yes, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Carol, did you have a question?
Sorry, that was just up from before.
Oh, okay. Shirley, do you have a question?
Not a question, just to share the takeaways. Great presentation. Thank you, Marilyn. But what Carol said from her interaction with the buyers, we take it for granted that the other agent has done a thorough buyer consultation, and that may not be the case. So that was huge for me, Carol. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. I loved that share too. It's a great reminder. And everybody shows up with a different skill set, especially in this market. Louise, did you want to share?
Yes. Who are the 3 people? The greeter?
There's a greeter at the front door, and the greeter has the job of registering. So I feel like they have to be very strong and confident. They have to be able to sign the person in. If they're too quiet or shy, and they don't like that, they go into another position. The second position is where the booklets are. I make it a self-service display. It has the open house booklet. It has all the freebies. They can register for the raffle. And that agent is pretty much stationary. So that works well for a quieter agent who likes people, an SI disc profile. They like people, but they don't want to lead necessarily. They just want to be nice, give them the forms, and that's it. And then the floater has to be a little bit more assertive again. They've got to move around. They've got to want to keep going. That someone who's not stationary. So floater, stationary, greeter.
So you give a different form to people that don't come with an agent. Is that what you said?
No, same form, but it's coded. If they're working with the agent, there's a spot on the form that says, are you working with the agent? I put the agent's name. If
Does
they're
the floater
unrepresented,
know that? The floater
yes,
can see that?
they can see it right on the form. And I'll say, go see Joe. I'll direct them to the agent that's the floater too. Joe will help you.
Could you give them
I'll
different
say-
colors?
Excuse me, I'll say, Joe's gonna accompany you through the house.
Oh, okay.
You know, so, and off they go.
That's a good idea. I like that. Or I give them a different colored clipboard or something. I like that. That's really smart, Marilyn. Good idea.
I like the colored clipboard though. You made me think I could have different pieces of paper, but if I use different colored clipboard, they probably wouldn't know because I'll
Yeah.
just grab it. And that's a great idea. That actually, I have a hard time finding them. Staples keeps jacking up the price. They used to be 99 cents. They're like $3 now. I'm like, I should look for a
colored
place.
duct tape on them. Just put a colored duct
I know. I'm like, oh my God, they raised the price. They're so expensive now. And if you have, 6 open houses, you need 6 to 10 in each box. So you guys can, I don't know, I'm cheap. I want to do it as lean as possible.
Marilyn, just use a highlighter.
Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
Marilyn, use a highlighter and put a color highlighter in the corner of each sheet.
That's a good idea too. Thank you. I just bought Dorinda's no see-through highlighters. I bought tons of them. Okay, Tanya, did you have a question?
No question, just a great presentation. And one aha that I had was, I just had an open house, but you said to put the active listing and market stats on a clipboard and bring it with you. So that was really good. Yeah, really, really good.
Thank you. Susie, did you have a question?
Yeah, thanks for doing the presentation. And my question is, you said, you have your table set up by the front door, but what do you do in a house where it's a small hallway and, it doesn't have enough space for the table? Do you put it outside? And if so, if it's, in the winter or in the summer, where you're going to be too hot and too cold, what do you do then?
So Susie, I live 2 minutes from TJ Maxx and Home Goods. So I bought these 3-tier stands and the clipboards are in one, so I can do it really lean. Those layering tables that you get, one's underneath the other one. I just it's a small rectangular shape. What do you call those ladies? The tray under the tray?
Nesting tables.
Nesting tables. I bring the nesting tables and I pull out the bottom one. I put my clipboards on one, and you can use the kitchen table with the tablecloth. I try to be COVID safe. So I have sanitizer and I don't really want anyone touching the furniture. So for the germs and stuff, but you can set up, Susie, you could have I've had a bag before with my clipboards in the bag, like a shoulder sack. So you'll just add lid, but go to Home Goods. They've got all these funky containers. You know how you put in the 3-tier shelf, it stands up. Like if I was working right now, I have them next to my desk. I can drop them in. You can put your pens in there, your little sign-in sheets and your property books. And that just carry it around with you. So everything's portable. I'll take a picture of some of the stuff I bought. I've got a million chalkboards and easels and dry erase boards, just tons of stuff. I just see it and I've bought it over the years.
Thank you.
Okay, Arlene, did you have a question?
I did actually. So two questions. One is, you were talking about the greeter, the booklets, self-service part, and the floater. What are you then actually doing at that point? Are you then taking them through?
I'm the greeter. Nope. I feel like my most important job is to welcome them, bring the energy, set the pace, and I want to source the lead because I just spent,
Okay.
I'm already in this house for $1,500 before I even started. So I want to look at my return on investment. Where are these people coming from? Did the mailer work? Did Facebook work? Did the video work? Did everything work? So my team, some of my team members can carry the weight, like Jack said. Some of them can't. They're not comfortable asking all the questions. I'm very comfortable. I want to know the details. I want to know how they found out. Did they just, they assign call? Everything matters. So I just greet them, and I'm giving the leads to my buyer agents. They get to prosper from the open house. So I got the listing. This is an opportunity for them to earn their, their pay for their family. So I like to share.
Okay, that was great. And I think, honestly, you're doing an interview, like you're being interviewed by some of these people and you just are like knocking it out of the park.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then also the other question, it was just very simply, I normally use index cards and I'll put special features around the house on an index card. You're actually using those acrylic things, right?
Yes.
Do you leave them during the week? Like once you get the house, do they stay there?
Well, I'll give you my secret.
Yeah.
In property disclosures, I do a feature sheet on an Excel, and all I do it. I love to touch it once, do it once, cut and paste. So I just crop, pop it in the room. Sometimes there's only 3 sentences, like in the heating in the boiler room. It's a Whale McLean boiler, all those stats that the men, different people like about the house. I just do it once. Give me all the details. How old is the roof? The pool, when there's a pool filter and there's pool chemicals. It's those details that are not really, it's just information about the house. I just cut and copy it. I do it once in MLS, once in the feature sheet, and cut and copy and make the signs. So I might change the font. So if I'm in an old colonial, I use old colonial script. I mean, you'd think I was bored and I had all this time to do it, but I just like to make it fun.
Okay, and you leave them up during the week, like so others see it during the showings.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Christine, do you have a question?
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Marilyn, so much. This is excellent. So I know you do a lot of open houses. How do you stagger the times so that you can be the greeter at each place? Like, in other words, is one at 11 and one at 3 or whatever?
What we started doing last year, so I could do 6 of them, is I just shortened the time, but I did 2 Saturday, Sunday. So I always do the first 2 because that's the greatest lead capture. Each week it's going to dissipate, but my sellers want to see me. Like Carol said, they know they hired me and my group. So the crossover to the team, if I bring the team on the second cut, I get the assignment. If I bring the team in while we're doing the prep for the listing and they meet them, they're fine with all of us being at the open house. If I never introduce the team to the open house, they get really funny about it. So that's the key to that. You've got to introduce them before the main event so they can see that they're, in fact, I feel like I build the most rapport in the prep stage because I tell them, you're not going to see me once we start. I'm just going to be a voice on the phone. You're not at the open house. You're not at the showings. Sometimes the offers are done electronically. It's not always done face to face. So they see me a lot in the beginning and then I go away. But I'm always at the beginning open houses. One of my team members can carry the weight. Like I'm going to family reunion. We're doing open houses on Saturday, but he'll be at the helm on Sunday for new listings. But I do like to do the launch. I like them. I still love doing open houses too.
Okay. So if it's a new listing, you're always at the first open house and you make sure that you have maybe 2 on Saturday, but if there's a second open house, you're not necessarily going to be the greeter on Sunday.
I always do 2, 10 to 11, 12 to 2, 2:30 to 3:30, or 11 to 1, 2 to 3:30. In the summer, we shorten them. Okay. Sometimes I look at the time, but they're always 11 to 1, 2 to 4, depending on the distance, or 11 to 1, 2:30 to 4. Pretty consistent Saturday, Sunday. So
Thank
my,
you.
go ahead. And it
Thank
helps
you.
everybody plan. I tell them, you want a morning block or an afternoon block? When they tell me, Marilyn, I want it from 12 to 2, I do not change it for their schedule. I set the times and they conform to our team schedule. That I tell them, no, I have to service other people before or after you. So you can pick the morning block or the afternoon block.
And
then
Marilyn,
I'm gonna do
just to
another.
clarify, because I see some
Yeah.
questions in the chat. These are
Sure.
your fixed time blocks
Yep.
for open houses at different properties each day.
Yep.
Right.
And then I just bebop. I figure out on the map what order we're gonna do it. Sometimes I'll send the greeter, the second agent, 15 minutes ahead. They unlock it. The display is already set up. So I set up on Friday. I don't want to walk in and be like frenzied. I hate that. So my
Yep.
open houses are go ready. They just walk in and you could go to the open house, Louise, and start. So the seller knows. Sometimes my seller will put all the lights on for me. Like the more I thank them, the more they participate. I've had sellers put my display out for me because I take a photo and I say, this is what it looked like when it was up. You know, so that I have great clients, they do get involved. I'm sorry, I can't see the chat. I can see you guys,
Thank you,
Yeah.
Marilyn.
I can only see 5 people, but I can't see the chat. So I don't know if there's any more stuff in the chat.
Pretty much no, you're good.
Okay.
Louise got
This
it.
was great.
There's
All right,
something
well-
really cool about the E&O insurance, that some offices, the E&O insurance only covers a certain amount of hours to be at an open house. I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that either.
Another thing to check with all your offices,
someone
check your
wrote-
local rules and check your local
Yeah.
coverages.
Yeah, Marilyn, someone wrote the E&O insurance for an office only covers them to be there for 3 hours max. I think 3 hours is too long. I think one of the benefits of the open house is constricting the showings, and you create more demand, right? By funneling more people
Yes.
in a shorter period of time.
It's the bold law. I would have never believed it. All work expands to fill the time allowed. It's the bold law. If you only give them an hour, it's just like us.
Yeah.
If you have to get to the market and you know it closes at 8, you're gonna get there by 1:15, right? We do it. So it's a natural thing for them
Yep.
to, and they'll reroute their tour. You can even be strategic. At first I was like, well, I don't know if anyone's gonna come at 10 o'clock because of kids' sports and things, but I get tons of people in the early. Way back when I tried to do a 7:30, like go to the gym and then host, but nobody came. So that was a bust. Jack, did you have a share?
Yeah, I just want to share, it takes us 6 or 8 hours to get a whole open house together, right? And for us, we do a minimum of 2 hours, 11 to 1. Sometimes
Yep.
we have to extend because people are coming through. But the reality is the time that we're putting in to do this, I hear what Louise is saying, and I totally agree with you, Louise. However, we have found that sometimes it's easier for just to extend if people keep coming in, because you
Yep.
never know who has that one check.
That's
And
right.
we always say that to our sellers. All we need is one check. That's all we need. And if
Yep.
it takes a little bit more to do it, we do it. But I agree, Louise. All the work that we
Yeah.
put into it, 2 hours is exhausting.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, if there's a line, of course, we never turn anyone away. But I mean, just to advertise it. If you advertise a long span of time, you're going to get the stragglers. Try to
I
get
agree, advertising. I agree, but we put out
The-
40 or
during
50
the-
signs.
Yeah, and during the pandemic, I remember it was like a parade. I literally, from the minute it started to the minute it ended, never took a break. I just collected the form, threw them in the bin, collected bin. And it was like
Yes.
I had them go in one door and out the other.
Yep.
And it really was just so many people there. So it's a little bit less. I did Saturday, I had 7 families, and Sunday I had 7 families. And then our offer deadline is today at 5. But Mindy, did you want to share?
I did. It's kind of along the lines of what some other people were sharing. When I was in California, I never saw an open house for less than 4 hours. So when I was moved to Massachusetts and was looking for a place, I was shocked to see 1.5 hour, 2 hour open houses. But it forced me as the potential buyer to change my schedule. And as an agent, it's true. You're going to get stragglers, whether you do it for 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hours. There's always going to be people who are going to come at the last minute.
Yeah.
They wait until the last minute. They arrange their other showings around yours. And so, and I've been packing up and have people show up. And I have found that sometimes those are the people who do make the offer. So I don't turn them away. I just say, hey, we were packing up to leave. Why don't you go on in as we continue to wrap it up here, and let me know if you have any questions. And then I escort them out with the person who's doing the open house with me, because I never do it alone. I post in the chat. I always have.
Well, that's the benefit of two people. One of you could go on and one of you could hang back. Absolutely. It pays to have a colleague with you, and you just do a trade. And that's why I like having multiple people. And we'll be like, right, you go, I can handle this, and you can, work together on it. Thanks, Mindy. And Susie, did you have a share? And then LaKayla.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it was my office that I discovered that we learned that there was a 3-hour maximum for our open houses to be covered with our E&O insurance. And so what I do is I just do a 2-hour open house, and I give myself 30 minutes for setup and 30 minutes for cleanup and for the stragglers. And that way I'm only in the house for the total of the 3 hours.
I have never heard of that. I'm going to check. That's so interesting. LaKayla, do you want to share? Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure we all experience stragglers. How do you deal with, I think I probably know the answer to this because you set up beforehand, a day before, but sometimes I've tried to go early before the time, and you're getting people, much like how people show up to yard sales where they're trying to come in early. So I was just curious, does anybody how do you best deal with that?
Honestly, I'm not being mean, but I just say no, LaKayla. I say, I'm sorry, the house isn't ready. It's really important to my client that the house be in showroom ready, and I need 5 minutes. It's going to start on time. I promise it will be at 11, but I'm not ready yet. And most people will accept that. So I just say the seller wants the house to be in perfect showing condition for you, or showroom ready for you. And I need to do a little bit of prep to get the materials out. And they will understand. I mean, some people, it's about them, and they might get a little ticked, but most of the time, LaKayla, they'll be fine about it, and they won't be upset. So, Susie, I don't know if you had another share or if you're, oh, okay, Christine.
I had just something that reminded me, what do you do about the people who just casually drive by and say, oh, can we see the house? And you don't know them, they don't have an appointment, they're unrepresented, and you don't even know if they're financially qualified. Do you still let
No,
them?
it's good. It's a great question. It's a red flag for the team, and our team has a code for them.
Okay.
Because number one, they're a drive-by. I don't know, sometimes they don't want to sign in. So just so you guys know, if someone will not sign in at my open houses, they don't get to go forward. And I'm okay saying no. I'm the shepherd of that house. I take I'm responsible, and I don't have to have anyone in there that I don't know hasn't given me a name or number. So that being said, I have to find out why are they driving by, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't go. Right? If I wasn't in this profession, I certainly wouldn't be spending Saturday on a 90-degree day going to open houses. So I guess my suspicious mind says, is there another motive here? Is this person unsafe? What are they doing? Are they curious? Are they a neighbor? Are they a family member? Why are they at the open house? In my team, we have a red alert. We call it a red alert, and we just watch. We watch them a little bit differently. If the floater isn't with anybody, they accompany. Because how do I know? I mean, I've never had any problems, thank God, at where anything happened, but that makes me a little nervous, and that's how I handle it.
Okay, thanks.
How do you say to your team, like how you said you have a code for them? How do you say it so those people won't understand what you're saying?
We just have a word. I'll go, do you guys have, did you like, we do a time check on it. Like, hey, I have 10 more minutes for the book, or it's an erroneous statement, and they know it doesn't mean anything to anybody. So they know it's out of, like, it doesn't match the circumstance. So it's an erroneous statement about time. And then they just aware.
All right. Thank you so much for this class. There's so much good information you shared with us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Carol, did you have a share?
I was just going to address that comment about people like a drive-by. So that happens a lot in our market, and you know, people that have lots of wealth that are high net individuals sometimes act really erratic. So usually we just ask them, and I'll just say, well, listen, they'll come by, they want to see the property, and I'll ask them if they have an agent. Sometimes they'll lie, say they do or don't, and I'll say, well, here's the thing. And I just go right in their face and say, listen, in our neighborhood and situation, sometimes people come and, you know, I don't know you from Adam, and I don't know if you're going to come here and, you know, rob the place. I kind of make it like a joke. So tell you what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do for you. I need to see your ID. I need to have your information. You have to sign this form. You have to do this and do that, and, you know, legally, and I make them sign all the forms, and they have to show me their ID. And I just get right in their face with it, and very much, I'm very aggressive, but in a nice way. And if they're not offended and they kind of like, oh, and then they start, you know, telling me what's going on, and I get their whole life story, then I'm pretty good judge of character. If they're just, oh, no, they tell me we're really doing this, and then I feel confident. If they push back, then I say, well, I'm sorry, I'm walking up the house and you're not going to be able to see it, and here's my card, you'll have to set up an appointment. And then I'm just really back in their face like, no, I don't have time for you. So you just have to be able to read people, and don't ever do anything that feels wrong, because people will do stuff. They'll go in your property, they'll set something up, they'll put a lock thing, they'll come back, they'll rip you off. Like, just be safe. You just never know.
Yeah, I would say, and I'm going to piggyback, you can trust your instincts. Your meter's going to pick up if something doesn't feel right. If 38 families came and only one won't sign in, I say, why? My intuition will flag that something's up. Your intuition, you can tell when there's danger or when something doesn't feel right, and you're in charge at the open house. So I'm with Carol, just be assertive and say, no, it's uncomfortable only for a minute, like a bee sting, for 1 minute, but you'll feel better that you didn't have them come in. And I've had a couple people, you know, that not coming into the open house because they didn't want to sign in, but most of the time they're pretty pleasant, and everything's fine. People, I think, are generally good. I don't, you know, so.
You can always blame your seller. Say, well, my seller won't let people in the house unless you sign in. So I'm really sorry, but that's just the way it is. So, you know.
Yeah,
so
we
sorry.
can say the broker.
Yeah, you know, we can't let you in unless you sign these forms. New York state law, you know, you're not willing me, you know, I'm just not. Well, the other brokers, well, you know what? Then go look at their listing. I don't really care. Have a nice day. Bye. See you later. Shut the door in their face.
Well, you guys, I'm so glad you came and spent some time. It was awesome. And I really appreciate, I learned a lot from doing this with you too, because there's always more to do, and especially with today's technology. So I say, go have some fun, go make some money. Open houses are I think they're one of the best parts of our job. You meet a ton of people, and it's just it's a good time. So
Marilyn,
good luck out there. If you need anything, text me. Okay.
Marilyn, sourced from open houses, Marilyn.
What did you say?
What percentage of your business is sourced from open houses, new business?
Almost 100% of my buyers came from open houses, and the statistic in MREA is 3%. So my coach tracks my numbers. Almost every single buyer that bought a listing came from an open house that I did. But I'm spending money though, and I'm marketing the heck out of them. So my co-brokes, people in the community know I'm never going to pirate their client. They sign in with the buyer, with Louise Weiss's name, with Carol Castle. So I feel like I make it really easy for people to send them And that's all I need. Give me an opportunity with your client in my house and I'm gonna sell it. So it's multiple. I still am getting multiple offers. I've had a couple that bounced back and we went back under agreement. So it's definitely my zone though. I mean, this is my element. I love doing open houses. And so, you know, I think it's a great fallback. Sometimes I miss my lead gen or I do the lead gen at night, and the open houses always help me recover from that. So.
I want to say something here on like whatever the person wrote here. I think her name is South Florida Louise. She wrote, and check that all doors and windows are locked prior to leaving the property at the end of the open house. I read a story in a realtor magazine about people with malintention lock windows. That's a good, I want to say thank you for posting that there in the chat. This is a really good reminder because, you know, sometimes you get all carried away and you forget to check that, right? So thank you for sharing that too.
That's interesting, Louise. We had one woman, and this is a while back on the team, the seller accused her of leaving an unlocked door. So for a while I had everybody take a photo. I said, it's a good reminder, you can delete it after, of yourself locking the door, because you can get busy, you can get distracted, but that's definitely, especially if it's a ground level listing and you open the window, I try to leave it in the same condition that I found it too. So if you move anything. But I don't know if Authorine might have other responsibilities for the class. Is Authorine, yeah, they're nodding. Is Authorine, is she?
Hey, it's Susan and I'm taking over for Authorine, but we just wanted to say thank you so much for taking your time today and just give us another plug. Once again, where we can find you in the world, and we see your phone number there, but tell us again your market center and where we can.
Okay, you can remember Marilyn from Massachusetts, and I'm actually 15 minutes from the Rhode Island border, so I do Boston Metro, Southwest, and Rhode Island. And I've been with Keller Williams Realty Boston Southwest in Westwood, Mass. It has Boston in the name, but it's not in Boston, our market center. It was just a clever way to capitalize on the Boston market, I think.
Absolutely. Well, we think
yeah.
you're wonderful. We learned so much. We could
Thank
definitely go on the rest of the day, but we want to be respectful of your time.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. Have a nice day, everybody.
You too. Thanks, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you, Marilyn.